In this video, we're going to see that everything works correctly on our newly Klipper controlled 3D printer before we let it loose on a print. This series is sponsored by PCBWay. This video is part of a series where we set up Klipper control on a 3D printer, so I'm going to assume that you have set up your Klipper device and it's controlling your 3D printer with no errors. If you're not at this stage, then go back in the series and watch whichever videos you need to get up to speed. What we're going to do before any homing, Z offset or bed leveling is to verify that the heaters and stepper motors on your 3D printer are working correctly and that your stepper motor end stops are going to stop your printer from trying to tear itself apart. It is very important to do these quick checks, as with the wrong settings in your printer configuration, it's possible to not only damage your 3D printer, but as we're dealing with quite high powered heaters, there is a real risk of fire in a worst case scenario. So with that warning ringing in our ears, let's start with the basics. Your fail all safety state, if anything goes wrong at any time with your 3D printer, is to kill the power. Therefore, make sure that you have access to not only your printer's power switch, but also its power lead so that you can pull it out as a last resort. Now that that's covered, we're going to start sending some commands to our printer to get it to check a few things. First, make sure that your print head is somewhere around the middle of the bed and not too close to the bed itself. I would advise around an inch or 25mm gap at least. You can do this with an M84 command if you know how and then manually move things, or if you don't know how to do that, just turn the power off on your printer. Once you have everything in position, make sure that your Klipper device and printer are on and they're talking to each other with no errors showing. Then log into one of the web UIs as I showed you when setting everything up. If you didn't watch those videos or you've forgotten, this means entering your Klipper device's hostname or IP address into a web browser on a computer on the same network as your 3D printer. The first thing we're looking for is the temperature readings. You should have a temperature reading for at least the hot end, sometimes called Extruder, and then maybe a heated bed if your printer has one. These temperatures should be very similar to the ambient temperatures wherever your printer is and not rapidly climbing. If either of these temperatures are high or climbing, switch off your printer and investigate why. Now, I obviously can't go into detailed fixes for every possible fault you might find in this video, as it would just be too long. However, if you have temperature errors here, look for the sensor type and sensor pin settings for the extruder and or bed in your printer configuration file. Something is likely wrong here. Assuming everything with your 3D printer is fine, we then need to find the console on either your Klipper device's screen or in the web UI and enter the command M112. This tells Klipper to go into a shutdown state and should report an error. This error can be cleared with a firmware restart. When it starts back up, check your temperatures again and make sure that they're still stable. If they're climbing now, then again, go back and check those sensor settings. There's something not right. Assuming that your temperatures are still stable, then it's time to start testing your heaters to see if they behave. Start with your hot end or extruder, as it's sometimes called within Klipper, and ask for a temperature of 50 degrees. Watch that the temperature climbs to 50 degrees and then stops. It may overshoot a bit and then fluctuate, but the important thing is that it doesn't keep climbing. We'll fix any fluctuations in a later video, but for now we just want to make sure everything is safe. Once it settles, set the temperature back to 0 and then watch to make sure that the temperature falls. If everything behaves, then move on and do the same with any other heaters you have. Most 3D printers will also have a bed heater, but some will also have a chamber heater too. Remember, if any of the temperatures start increasing when they shouldn't, turn your printer off and investigate. Now we're happy that our heaters work, we're going to move on to checking the stepper motors. Before we do that though, just a very quick message about PCBWay and their great product design competition that you can enter if you've got a project that you're proud of. There are free gifts just for entering and prizes for the best designs. Your projects don't have to include any electronics either, as there are now categories for mechanical designs. If yours is an electronics project, then there are added rewards this year for including STM32 chips. Check out the links in the description for more details. Now let's check out that those stepper motors work correctly. Back in the command console, we need to enter a couple of commands to lock all of the stepper motors on our printer. Check now to see if your stepper motors are currently locked or if they're free to move. Mine are free to move, and there's no command within Klipper that activates all of the stepper motors at once. Unfortunately, that means that we're going to need to put a command in for each individual stepper motor to lock it. However, as I'm really kind to you, I'm going to put these commands down in the description so that you can just copy and paste. I'm going to have to type them in. However, now I've done that, all of my axes are locked firm. To unlock them, we now just type an M84 command. And now everything moves freely. Now, if any of your motors didn't respond to those commands, either they didn't lock with the first command or they didn't free up with an M84 command, there's a couple of things you need to check. In your printer.cfg file, find the section for the particular motor that's misbehaving, and then look for the enable pin line. Try either removing or including an exclamation mark before the pin reference. Save and restart, and then try those codes again. If this didn't work and you're sure that you're editing the correct section in your config file, then it's possible that it's actually the wrong pin that's defined for that motor. Once we have all of our motors disabled with that M84 command, move all of the axes so that they're away from their end stops. Then back in the console, type query_endstops, and you should receive a message to say whether the individual end stop is open or closed. At this stage, if any of yours are showing closed, then you need to investigate why. You can check each individual end stop by manually closing the switch and then running that query end stops again. To save typing everything again, just hit the up arrow to activate the previous code again. You should see that the individual end stops are triggered when you run that query end stop while you're manually holding the switches closed. Now, my Z axis doesn't have an end stop. It uses a BL Touch bed probe, which is why in my printer configuration file under the section for the Z stepper on the end stop pin line, it says probe Z virtual end stop. Then underneath it, the lines for the end stop pin and the end stop position are commented out with a hash. If you have a bed probe, then you should have something very similar to this, and we'll look at bed probes very shortly. If any of your end stops are reversed, as in showing triggered when they should be open or open when they should be triggered, then find the end stop pin line in the correct section and try the exclamation mark trick at the beginning of the pin reference, as this reverses the way the pin works. If you're getting no response at all from the end stop, then try adding a circumflex or caret symbol at the beginning of the end stop pin reference. You can usually add this with Shift and 6 on your keyboard. Remember to save and restart before trying any changes. Once you've got all of your end stops working correctly, we can start moving some motors. Before we can move the individual axes, we would need to home them all. But if we hit home all and one of our axes moved in the wrong direction, it wouldn't be fun. So before we do anything, we're going to use a feature called Stepper Buzz. What Stepper Buzz does is moves one of the motors 1 millimeter in a positive direction and then moves it back, and then repeats this another 9 times. Assuming that your end stop is at the 0 position, which most are, then the first position would be away from the end stop. To start this process for each individual axis, you need to type stepper_buzz, stepper equals stepper_x. But again, as I'm kind, I'm going to put this in the description as well, so you can just copy and paste it. Then obviously you just repeat this command and change the letter at the end for the different axes. Don't use Stepper Buzz to test your extruder though. We're going to do that separately in a minute. So what if things didn't happen as they should? Well, if you have one or more of your axes that didn't move at all, then check out the enable pin and step pin settings for that stepper motor. If the motor moves but doesn't return to its original position, then check out the dir_pin setting. If the stepper motor moves in the wrong direction, then it generally means that you need to invert that dir pin setting with the exclamation mark, as I showed you before. If one of the motors seems to move significantly more or significantly less than that millimeter, then you need to change your rotation distance setting. However, if it looks similar to mine, then you're okay at this stage. So to check the extruder motor, first set your hot end to around 200 degrees. Now this may be the first time you've requested the hot end to get this hot, so again just check for any problems and be ready to switch it off if temperatures start climbing too high. Once you're up to temperature, you should be able to hit the enable button in the web UI or on your screen of your Klipper device. You might need to put some filament in to check if the extruder is moving in the right direction or not, because sometimes it's not obvious. If the extruder does anything it shouldn't do, then the lines that you're looking for are again the enable pin, step pin, and dir pin settings for the extruder. Once you're happy with the extruder, then zero its temperature again. So one last thing we might need to check is any bed probe we may have. We now know that our motors are going to move in the right direction and that our end stops are going to stop their travel at the end. But if you hit home all and your bed probe isn't set up correctly, then your nozzle may try to drill itself through the bed and really ruin your day. There are many different methods for checking each individual different type of bed probe, but I find the easiest way is to just try and trigger it way above the bed. That way if it doesn't stop, you have time to turn the printer off before it does any damage. To do this, start by manually increasing your Z axis so that you've got room to maneuver. This will either be raising the print head on a bed slinger or maybe lowering the bed on a Core XY machine. Remember, to disable those stepper motors, we either need to run the M84 command or turn our printer off first. Once it's a good distance above your bed, then you need to find something to trigger your probe. Now, different probes trigger in different ways. A BL touch will trigger when it comes into contact with anything solid. A capacitive sensor will trigger when it comes close to pretty much anything. An inductive sensor will only trigger when it comes close to metal. And then now we have setups with strain gauges behind the nozzle that trigger when the nozzle itself pushes into something solid. If you know exactly what type of sensor you've got and are confident that you can trigger it manually, then go ahead. But if you're not sure, then my advice would be to put a metal plate on top of a weak cardboard box on top of your bed. That way, all of the sensors that we currently use in 3D printing would trigger when coming close to the metal plate. But if the worst happens, then the box will get crushed before any damage is done to your bed. And as I say, just make sure that your hand is ready on the power switch so that you can turn things off before you make a mess. If your bed probe doesn't trigger, then you're going to have to investigate why before you can move on. Again, I can't go into all the possible fixes, but what you're looking for is in your printer configuration file, the stepper Z section. Here you need to see if it defines pins to use, or like mine, it calls for a Z virtual endstop. If it does this, then there needs to be a separate section in that same configuration file for either BL touch or probe. This is the section that Klipper uses to try and control your bed probe. The most likely error is that the wrong pins are defined, or it's trying to send the wrong type of signal on the correct pins. Assuming that your printer did stop when it sensed your false bed and didn't try digging into it, then you're now safe to home all axes. Now that this is done, you're finally finished with this series of videos and it's now safe to print with your Klipper controlled 3D printer. If you've worked your way through everything, then well done. Having gone through it all, it feels like a lot to do, but hopefully this series has made things a bit easier. It's now time to move on to the next series, which will first show you how to set a Z offset, manually level, and then create a bed mesh. After this, we'll start fine-tuning everything to really get your Klipper-controlled 3D printer firing on all cylinders, and then you'll really see what these machines can do. Click here to go straight to that series now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you there.